Today we're opening a story so explosive it could completely change how people see the Brown family. At the center is a woman whose dream was taken from her, her life's work lifted and repackaged on national television by someone who, according to our investigation, may not have created any of it on her own. What follows is drawn from insider reports, leaked court documents, and affidavit testimony from sources well within the fundamentalist Mormon subculture. It is a story of ambition, of betrayal, and of abuse of fame. To view what took place, let us first glance back at the origins of My Sister Wife's Closet, the online jewelry and apparel outlet first featured on TLC. It was presented right from the beginning as Robin's invention. The audience was told that she was the creative mastermind, the designer, the one who wanted to build a brand symbolizing plural marriage strength and family solidarity. Behind the camera, Robin was discussing design integrity and symbolism for family, while Cody was portraying her as a child prodigy. The other wives were positioned as supporting partners helping to carry out her vision. Behind the glitzy presentation, however, serious problems arose almost immediately. Production delays crawled along forever, pushing the debut again and again. On television, this was explained as Robin being a perfectionist. But perhaps it wasn't perfectionism, perhaps rather it was evidence of not really understanding. It was like trying to build a machine from schematics you couldn't read. You might be able to know what the finished product is intended to look like, but have no idea how the pieces really fit together. When the products finally reached customers, the reaction was not favorable. Items were described as flimsy, cheaply built, and much more expensive than they were worth. The sterling silver items, if the brand's name was anything to believe, felt light and easily tarnished. One of the old production assistants recalled the returns department was always a nightmare, and Robin would get defensive or emotional when dealing with customer complaints. She seemed not to understand technical commentary about materials or manufacturing, so others, like Mary, had to deal with angry customers. The question is, was Robin simply inexperienced, or was something else at play? If one digs deeper, a more nefarious explanation reveals itself. Perhaps she was failing because she was not business savvy, but because she was working off someone else's pilfered idea, and one which she never quite understood. She had the surface image of a brand but lacked the depth, the creativity, or the substance behind the same. That might be the reason for the lack of innovation, the inability to expand, and the eventual collapse of the company. Which leads us to the woman whose work may have inspired it all. To find her, we have to go back in time to 2011, when Sister Wives first made national news. Somewhere in a humble Utah town, out of the sight of television cameras, was a woman we'll call Anna. Not only wife, mother, and member of a fundamentalist Mormon cult, but also gifted graphic designer and self-taught jewelry maker. Anna had run a small but favored online business called My Sister Wives Jewelry Box for years. It was deeply personal work, rooted in her own experience of plural marriage, resilience, and solidarity. Her marketing was authentic, with blog entries on difficulties overcome and triumphs achieved, and the way each piece of jewelry symbolized that struggle. Customers weren't buying pieces of merchandise, they were buying her story, and they resonated with it. Anna yearned to take her concept further. She recognized that it could touch the lives of a much wider community. What followed, however, would change everything, for her, and eventually for the Brown family's carefully crafted narrative. Anna had visions beyond a small Etsy store. She wanted to expand, to produce with better materials, and to hire women from her own community, building a sustainable business that could provide for her family for generations. To make that move, she needed funding. And in 2011, there was only one family within the polygamous community that had capital and a national platform, the Browns. It was an easy fit. Anna was hoping the Browns would appreciate the value of her work. She was hoping they would like her vision, given the fact that they shared the same town and the same values. With cautious optimism, she organized her plans, her plan, and the dreams she spent a decade creating, and through friends within their shared circle, she made it a reality most fans could only imagine. She managed to arrange a private audience with Cody and Robin Brown, who just so happened to be searching for a business concept to feature on their show at that same time. What happened in that room turned everything around. We know from Anna's own notarized affidavit that she walked into a rented office in Lehi, Utah, nervous but ready to go. Cody paced back and forth on one side, and Robin listened politely. Anna, trained designer as she was, came equipped, not just with ideas, but with a fully fleshed-out 40-page business plan. We have pictures of this same presentation, and they tell us just how developed her idea had become. Her mission was clear: to create jewelry paying tribute to the strength, sacrifice, and unity of sister wives and women in alternative family structures. Each one was imbued with meaning. She even had a unique marketing strategy. Each one would bear the name of an ideal or challenge encountered in plural marriage: the patience pendant, the unity bracelet, the resilience ring. Then she displayed her drawings, 6 of them in all, each packed with symbolism. But her piece de resistance was a departure from the others. Taken from the classic clado ring, symbolizing love, loyalty, and friendship, Anna had adapted it to multifamily dwellings. Her version depicted 3 women, arms around each other, within a circle of support. In the middle, their arms embracing a solitary heart. She titled it the Sisterly Bond Pendant. As soon as she had defined what it meant, Robin's face was glowing. Anna recalled her leaning forward and saying, "That is so inspiring. It speaks to my soul." Anna felt a glimmer of hope for the first time. They got it. They spoke her language. But after asking to view her designs, Anna had made a business decision. She presented Cody with a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA, so her ideas wouldn't be pilfered. Cody laughed, saying it was too Hollywood and that their family operated on trust, not documents. He refused to sign. Robin, however, grabbed the pen and signed, explaining to Anna that it wasn't a problem. That single signature would later become the foundation of a lawsuit. As Anna concluded, the atmosphere shifted. Cody was suddenly patronizing, mentioning the market wasn't big enough. Robin, who was friendly and excited only moments earlier, was brusque. She told her they weren't interested and showed Anna the door. Crushed, Anna rolled up her work and set off for home, sure her dream was shattered. For Robin, it was merely the beginning. 6 months on, Anna was at home with sister wives on television. She had tried to move on with her life, focusing again on her small shop. But as Cody unveiled a fresh family business on the show, her world stopped. Robin began discussing a dream, her dream, about a jewelry store celebrating the love of sister wives. And then the name, My Sister Wife's Closet. The punch was devastating. It was nearly an exact copy of her own line, My Sister Wives Jewelry Box, altered enough to be unique but clearly stolen. And that was not the end of it. Throughout the season, products were unveiled, designs that people were told were the work of Robin's artistic vision. But to Anna, they were achingly recognizable. The interlocking rings of the Unity bracelet. A pendant she had sketched years earlier as a family symbol. Her work, renamed and broadcast across the country. Among the products Robin displayed on the show was a 4-heart pendant that was strikingly similar to Anna's original 4 wives charm. But the biggest shock was when Robin produced the crown jewel of the entire collection, a sterling silver pendant she explained had come to her in a dream. With tears in her eyes, she told the cameras that she woke up with an inspiration to paint 3 powerful women, arms around each other, holding each other up like a stronghold of power. The lawsuit had another bombshell that sent the story back inside on the Browns themselves. Anna was not the only plaintiff. To her credit were charged Janelle Brown and Christine Brown. According to court filings, the money used to finance My Sister Wife's Closet did not come from Robin's wallet, but rather from the family's shared account. This account was funded out of proceeds from the show and managed by Janelle to a significant degree, with some also coming from Christine and Mary. To Janelle and Christine, the suit was beyond intellectual property or artistic plagiarism. It was an issue of fiscal betrayal. Money they had all put up, money to be spent on the entire family, had been diverted into a business established on someone else's stolen dream. Family money had been spent to establish what they now believed was an illegitimate business based on stolen ideas. For years, Janelle, Christine, and even Mary had been encouraged to promote the company on television and on social media without knowing that they were becoming indirect accomplices to the marketing of a stolen brand. It later became known from a source close to the family that Janelle herself had long had serious doubts about the business. Numbers were her strength, and the numbers on MSWC did not balance. She incurred enormous expenses on inventory and advertisement with almost no return. Each time she questioned it, Cody would brush her off and say they had to believe in Robin's vision. Christina's fury was another kind but equally deep. Her split with Cody had already been precipitated by years of being marginalized in favor of Robin. To then find that the family funds had gone into the failing business, one that had allegedly been built upon stolen creative work, would have had to have been the ultimate betrayal. In suing alongside Anna, Janelle and Christine weren't just after reimbursement for lost family money, they were making a statement. They were taking the choice of going at Cody and Robin publicly and officially. They were validating Anna's story and exposing Robin's carefully constructed image as false. The woman once painted as the family's artistic heroine was now being accused of lying and theft by her own former sister wives. The battle lines had been drawn. The case was prepared. And the theater was going to be the backdrop for a courthouse showdown. When the trial finally opened, the atmosphere was charged. Anna occupied the space between her lawyers, diminutive but unyielding, her fists clenched in her lap. Standing beside her on either side were Janelle and Christine, radiating restrained strength, their set faces a testament to their resolve. They were not there to create a scene, they were there to get someone to take responsibility for what they had done. Together, they were a force to be respected. Robin and Cody sat facing each other. Robin, dressed in somber colors, had a tissue clutched before a single word was uttered, her face set in honed sadness. Cody was irate, his muscles coiled, his eyes leaping angrily to Janelle and Christine as if betrayed by their existences. The air was thick with decades of anger. This was not merely a war in court, it was a settling. The plaintiff's attorney, Mr. Davies, began with precision. He set out the timeline in careful fashion, introducing Anna not as victim, but as talented artist whose trust had been broken. His voice was crystal clear, this wasn't coincidence, nor two individuals sharing the same thought. This was about someone with fame and power taking advantage of someone they felt was too small to defend themselves. They were wrong, he explained to the jury. The defense fired back with a frantic performance. Robin's lawyer painted Anna as bitter, unsuccessful artist chasing riches and fame. He characterized Robin as visionary and good mother whose fantasy was being unfairly shattered. Cody was heard to whisper amen loudly enough for the court reporter to record it, but the jury faces were not sympathetic ones. They wanted facts, not theatrics. Then Anna herself testified. She walked slowly, never crossing Robin's eyes. At first, her voice trembled, but as she talked about her work and her passion for designing, it firmed up. Davies took her through her history, using her portfolio as proof. The jury could see for themselves the consistency of style, the flair, and the professionalism which spoke volumes that she was no amateur dabbler in a hobby. She was a woman of history, ability, and honesty. When asked why she started her jewelry business, Anna said quietly that she wished to create something that honored the women who had been significant in her life and community. Her voice carried the force of sincerity, projecting an image of one who had created her perfect from love and truth, only to have it stolen and paraded on live television. Anna's testimony carried the force of the truth. She did not testify in slogans or memorized phrases but with the starkness of one whose sweat came from the bone of her being. She explained the symbolism in her jewelry, the union rings on her Unity watch, the strength ring that was delicate in appearance but constituted tempered steel. Each piece was not jewelry, but philosophy, a living log of plural marriage, sacrifice, and unseen strength. The jury nodded in her direction, leaning forward. When Mr. Davies questioned her about the pitch meeting, her voice trembled but did not break. She spoke of Robin's instant seriousness when shown the drawing of the sisterly bond necklace. She leaned forward. She said it touched her soul, Anna recalled. That instant, to Anna, had been the beginning of a partnership. Now years later, recalling it in a courtroom, the memory cut like glass. And then there was the issue of whether or not it was to see her designs broadcast on national television. Anna paused, fighting back tears, and responded with heartbreaking honesty. It was like someone living your life, just doing it wrong. It was my design, meaning nothing. She stole my work. She stole my story. She stole my dream. The silence that followed was charged with awkwardness. Her dignity and heartbreak had done more than evidence alone might. When the defense attorney rose to cross-examine, his bluster barely skimmed her. Each insinuation that she was grasping or bitter rang hollow against her firm assurance. The truth was her shield, and she left the witness stand not just having established her case, but having captured the hearts of the jury. Then came Robin's turn. She walked up to the witness stand like a condemned woman, tissues clutched in her hand, already dabbing at her tears before she was asked a single question. Her own lawyer guided her through, allowing her to tell the story she had perfected on television, of waking up with the idea in a dream, an inspiration from God, of sketching late at night at her kitchen table, of the jewels being her work to spread love. A rehearsed performance, perfected over a decade of repetition. But when Mr. Davies stood up, the temperature in the courtroom seemed to drop. He let her pull out her well-rehearsed story of divine inspiration before he landed the punch. This dream of yours, he began smoothly, was it by any chance on March 17, 2011, at about 2 p.m. in a rented office in Lehi, Utah? There was a buzz in the courtroom. Robin whitened. She stuttered, I don't know what you're talking about. Davies picked up a fat binder from the evidence table and set it out before her. Do you recognize this? He asked. Robin hesitated, eyeing it suspiciously as if it were poisonous. I may have looked at it, she muttered. This, Davies maintained, is Anna's original pitch deck. Presented to you March 17, 2011. Her business was my sister wife's jewelry box. A name, don't you think, very close to my sister wife's closet? Robin tried to do an end run around this. Coincidence, Davies said again, nodding toward the screen. Shoulder to shoulder, the jury had Anna's 2011 sketch of the sisterly bond pendant and Robin's later flagship product. The resemblance was uncanny. Another coincidence? Davies queried. You testified in court that your design came to you in your dreams, but this design, he pointed to Anna's sketch, was done a year prior to your product. Can you explain that stunning coincidence? Robin paused. Great minds think alike. Female solidarity is a popular theme. Davies remained unblinking. A popular theme that was given to you in confidence at a private corporate meeting 6 months before you published your so-called fantasy. He went on, brandishing the signed non-disclosure agreement. Is that your signature, Ms. Brown? Robin's eyes darted to her lawyer. There was nowhere to turn. Yes, she breathed. So you recall vowing you'd not use any of the concepts shared with you at that meeting? I signed it out of politeness, Robin cut in. I didn't think much of it. Cody said it was too corporate. The lawyer's tone hardened. So you promise things in court that you never intend to keep, out of courtesy. Tell this jury, Ms. Brown, did you or did you not borrow my client's ideas, her brand name, and her designs, and sell them as your own? Robin's voice rose to a scream, breaking into sobs. No. It was my dream, my suggestion. This woman lies. She's envious, attempting to murder me. The explosion rang out loud in the silent courtroom. Davies simply left it hanging there, Robin's desperation echoing off the walls. And then, in silence returning, he landed the knockout blow. Brown, he whispered, leaning forward, if it was your dream, why does the dream look so much like my client's painting? It's never easy. Behind every such tale is sacrifice, grit, and stoic strength that often gets overlooked. Anna explained that her pieces of jewelry were designed to serve more than as mere adornments. They were covert recognitions, subtle signs that whispered softly, I see you. I see what you endure. She opened up her heart in explaining the meaning of her work. Her unity bracelet's overlapping circles depicted wives learning to walk together. The resilience ring, delicate as a vine but steel, represented strength through flexibility. The courtroom listened in complete silence. Anna wasn't discussing jewelry. She was recounting a philosophy of life. Her testimony grew more compelling as she recalled the pitch meeting. Her voice trembling, she described her hope, her nervous excitement, Cody's rejection, and Robin's early enthusiasm. As she produced the sisterly bond pendant, Robin leaned forward and told her, "It speaks to my soul." Anna felt that she had found a real partner at that time. Even the sting of betrayal was recent as she testified, her voice shaking at the word partner. Then there was the moment that she recounted watching my sister-wife's closet on television. Her veneer cracked. It was like watching someone live my life, badly, she remembered. It was my name, sullied. My creation, but cheaper. My story, belittled of worth. And to watch her crying on television, telling it was revealed to her in a dream, that was the most heartless plagiarism of all. She did not simply steal my work. She stole my story. When Anna departed the stand, she hadn't simply presented evidence, she had captured the jury's hearts. Robin was next called to the stand, advancing as if to her own death. Her lawyer drew her as a mystical, creative woman wrongfully accused. Robin weeping told of her story of a vision from the divine in which the designs appeared to her. She claimed it was her calling, a divine assignment, and wiped away tears as she claimed that her late-night drawings were born in heaven. It was something she had practiced for over a decade. Then came the cross-examination. The courtroom atmosphere grew cold as Mr. Davies walked in. "Brown, this dream you're describing, it was in 2011? He asked. "Yes," she replied. He pressed on, "Perhaps on March 17, 2011, at 2 p. During a meeting in Lehi, Utah?" The courtroom erupted in murmurs. He placed Anna's pitch deck on the table between Robin. She tensed, as white as stone. He showed Robin photos of Anna's 2011 sketch of the sisterly bond pendant alongside Robin's lead necklace. "You say yours was a dream. Why did you rationalize the nearly identical match to my client's work, created a year earlier?" Robin stuttered, attempting to concoct excuses about universal themes. But Davies had more. He produced an NDA she had signed, a promise she had vowed not to use Anna's ideas. "You sign legal promises you never intended to keep?" he asked with cold disdain. Robin broke down, sobbing through tears that Anna was envious and lying. The courtroom wasn't convinced by her. Davies did the line that would echo in all the headlines, "MS. Brown, you tell us this design came to you in a dream. But the truth is, it came to you in a PowerPoint presentation. Your dream was her nightmare." Robin broke into tears, utterly shattered. If Robin's testimony had been a failure, Cody's was a disaster. Invoked to the witness stand, he fumed with arrogance. He ridiculed Anna's attempts as small time and bragged that Robin's ideas were downloaded from heaven. He disparaged contracts and NDAs, declaring his family's faith was a higher law than the law. When he was cross-examined, his temper was his undoing. He seethed with rage over persecution, gestured aggressively at Janelle and Christine, and, most culpably, admitted Robin had taken Anna's pitch deck after the meeting because she liked the vibe. Standing up for his girlfriend, he had already confessed to stealing. His rage and conceit handed the case to Anna on a silver platter. Closing arguments were all but unnecessary. Davies did a nice walkthrough of the evidence, the pitch deck, the NDA, the timeline, the voicemail, and Cody's damning testimony. The defense was reduced to nothing but appeals to emotion. The jury returned in less than an hour with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts, intellectual property theft, copyright infringement, fraud, and breach of contract. The judge's sentence was merciless. He ordered cold-blooded disgorgement of profits. All dollars earned on my sister-wife's closet were to be handed over to Anna. He imposed $2 million in punitive damages for the distress. And in the most poetic justice, he returned the brand in its entirety, its name, its site, its stock, and its intellectual property, to Anna, recovering for her hijacked dream. Janelle and Christine were given compensation as well, paid back the family money that they had put into the business. The judge scowled at Robin. "You're not a victim. You're a thief. You built your identity on a lie, and today the lie has been exposed." His words cut deeper than any fine. Cody seethed with rage. Robin sat stock still, exhausted by the destruction of the persona she had fought so hard to keep. As Anna, Janelle, and Christine left the courtroom, Christine embraced Anna and spoke something that brought them all to a quiet smile. Out of treachery, a new sisterhood was born. The real state of triumph was not money. It was truth. For Anna, freedom to create anew in a way that was honest. For Janelle and Christine, freedom from Cody and Robin. For the public, freedom from a scam. Robin's sole claim to originality, the company she claimed as hers by way of vision, was revealed as a theft. She wasn't a visionary. She wasn't a businessperson. She was a grifter. Anna is now relaunching her original company, this time as she originally meant to, intending to hire women from her neighborhood and reclaiming her nightmare that was stolen as her dream. Her victory serves as a reminder to creators everywhere who are small in size and not in talent that even pitted against power and fame, truth can triumph. Justice, finally, had been served. So, what's your opinion? Was justice done? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want more in-depth analyses of the real stories behind the headlines. Until next time, stay awake and question everything.